Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. I'm John Bishop with John Bishop Fine Art, and this is Conversations for Freelance Creatives. I'm glad you're back. Listen, got a lot to share with you this week. We're about to run off to Mexico. Bogdan has gotten into the FAIN, F-A-I-N, Feria for Art in Guadalajara. And so we're going to be going there tomorrow. We're going to be there for a week doing an art show in Guadalajara, and then anything that's left over, we're going to ship off to Mexico City for a second show in Mexico City. So very, very exciting time, and we're going to be gone for a while. So the next podcast will be coming to you from Mexico. So that's exciting. We're also doing a lot of renovation work on my parents' house. My parents live just across the street, lived across the street. They passed away this year. And so we're thinking that we might turn their small kind of bungalow retirement home into our studio and kind of run our empire from there. The issue is, of course, that we have two studios here in Houston right now at the Sawyer Yards complex in the Silver Street building. And that's marvelous. We love it. And we really need to be here in Houston. We need to have that kind of connection with people. We need a bigger audience than we're going to get in our smaller town. And so, the thing is, it's about 70 miles one way, and we come in every single day, except for Sundays. And so we're thinking maybe if we only had one studio and used it more as a gallery space and did most of our work, actual creation of art, at Mom's, then we could save the rent because Mom's house is already paid for. So we've done a lot of renovation work. We're right in the middle of it right now. And of course, then we have to put everything on hold to go off to Mexico for a week. So we'll keep you filled in on all that. So we've had a lot going on this week. But one of the things I really wanted to talk to you about this week is about subscriptions, about followers, about this whole experiment with online content. And we've really made a commitment to online content, particularly this year. What we found, and you may have seen the reports, that the businesses, the art businesses that were well established and had online presence before the pandemic actually did better last year, or some of them report they did better last year in 2020 than they did in 2019. And so that, we learned a lesson there. We weren't ready. We had been pumping all of our energy and time into building up these physical studios, which was great. But immediately when the pandemic hit, the people stopped coming. And in fact, we had to shutter the place down for a while. So we realized that we really missed that wave where people were buying online, happy to buy art because they were spending more time at home, spending more time kind of beautifying their homes, and they just bought everything online. So the folks like us who weren't ready, we missed out, and that's a real shame. So when we look at what we're going to do next, we said, okay, well, we have to have more of a presence in online. So I've been blogging for years. In fact, I really was doing it more for the SEO, knowing that every one of those words in my blog were searchable on Google, and that would help me be found by people who were searching. Even though nobody was really reading the blog, those words were helping me in search engine dynamics. And so I've been doing that for years, and even for the last 2 years, I've been doing video content pretty sporadically because it was just me, and I really didn't have Bogdan, who is, a professional television editor. He can't do anything halfway. It has to be really, really good. And so I couldn't burden him with all of this content. So I was trying to learn to do it myself. Ghastly. I hear that from most people, though. When you first start out, everything you do is going to be pretty awful. And so I've been cranking out content for the last couple of years, blogging for many more years, and we said, okay, we really, really need to make this commitment to doing this better and more regularly. And so in January, this is now August, in January we started in earnest, and we really started vlogging every single week. First it was just me, because Bogdan has this like aversion to being in front of the camera. But more recently, in the last couple of months, I've been able to get Bogdan in front of the camera. And I think that's going to help a great deal. But we've been vlogging, I continued my blogging, but I stretched it out into a much longer format. And then, of course, the podcast is something new that I kicked in. I don't think we started this till about February. And then the video, I figured if we're doing a podcast, we might as well do a video podcast because it's the same thing without the pictures. And so that's been going, and I've been pretty good about keeping up with this one. And what we're seeing is that we're just not getting any followers. Nobody's watching, nobody's listening. And I need to apologize, because obviously you're listening, you're watching. And I thank you for that very, very much. So we have just a handful of people who are subscribed to us and who are following our content. And I did notice in looking at the analytics that if you look at who is subscribed, they're not the ones who are watching. So I have people who are subscribed probably because they know us and like us, but they're really not watching the content. And then there's this other body of people that I don't really know who are watching the content. And I don't know if it's the same people every time. They may watch it once and never come back. So I do thank you so much for watching, and I'm not, this isn't a video complaining about you or about others not watching. It's looking at the whole dynamics of what it is, this online content that we absolutely must do these days. Anyone in business, particularly if you're in the art business, must do. It's just the new normal. And so I wanted to kind of go over some of the things we're discovering and some of the questions that we're asking, because we don't have all the answers. So we're doing all this content, and we were wondering what's the next step. I mean, we're getting better at it, hopefully, and the numbers just aren't happening. And maybe that just takes time. The other thing is, I have to admit, one possibility is that we absolutely suck at this, that the content that we're putting out is just dreadful and that is of no interest to anyone, and people stumble across it because of the keywording or accidentally, or maybe because they know us and want to give it a try. But we're just not, the possibility is that we're just not up to it, that we don't do a good job. That's a possibility. I choose to believe that we are good enough. I've seen people who don't put as much in and don't have as much editing and don't have as much content as we do, and they're doing better than we are. So I believe that we're okay. If we're not, please tell me. Give me suggestions on what you would like. But so there is that possibility that we just suck. I don't think that's it. Maybe I'm in total denial, but I'm going to stay there for the moment, because I can fix that, but I need to verify that before I can go forward. And the indications I'm getting is that we don't suck. So there's that as well. But what I notice is that there are various moods that I have when I go for content online. There are different ways that I'm searching for information. Now, I was a librarian for 30 years, and so I have this background in research and reference and things like that. And there are certain times when I go to YouTube specifically, it's just phenomenal, the amount of information that's there that is customized to my needs almost perfectly. But I go to look for certain things when I need them. It's like when you would go to the library and ask for a reference question or go there to find an answer, if you're old enough to remember going to libraries for that purpose. And what I find is if the chicken is thawed, I go in and find a recipe. And I look for it, and I scan around, and I'm looking for a great way to prepare chicken for dinner that night. In the middle of the day, like it's 10:30 in the morning now, I'm not interested in recipes. I'm not going to listen to anybody talk about chicken recipes right now because it's not of interest to me right now. It's not a bit of information that I require. And then there are other things. I mean, there's if I need tax information, or if I need information on how to fix a gutter, or the DIY projects that are out there, the just different kind of reference questions that I have in life that YouTube is perfect for in that tutorial kind of content. And when I'm looking for that tutorial content, I'm looking for somebody who knows what they're doing. Don't give me a recipe for chicken that's crap. You're wasting my time. And if there are people who don't look like they know what they're doing, I don't have time for them. And so I go for the very, very specific information. But there's another kind of content that I go for. And I don't know if it's escapism, if it's entertainment. There is the entertainment as well. I'll go to YouTube because I want to watch a movie or listen to some music. So I do go to YouTube sheerly for entertainment as well. And I don't do that all the time. I'm not interested in that all the time. But there's a type of content on YouTube that I always am ready for, and that's the lifestyle stuff. And I know that there's all kinds of lifestyle type content. There are things that are about makeup and about dating and so there are a lot of those things that I have no interest in whatsoever. Exercise, health. You can look at me and know that if I'm watching an exercise movie video, it's because the host is hot. So there is a lot of lifestyle content out there that I don't care anything about the authority of the people who are videoing. They're telling me about their lives, they're telling me about their experiences, and I feel like I get to know them, though I know we're not friends. I feel like I'm following a live, almost a reality TV show. I feel as though I'm actually getting to know someone whose life is very different from my own. Now, I talked a minute ago about authority and the need when you're looking for authoritative content that you want people who know what they're talking about. In a lifestyle video, I watched the Vagabond guys, the guys who are sailing the Vagabond. Love them, and they have 2 kids now, and they're in Australia, at least they were last time I checked. And Mr. and Mrs. Adventure, they live in their van and they do all these wonderful adventures. There's Todd and Tyler, who are the gay couple who live in Nova Scotia, off-grid in the Canadian woods. And Trent and Allie, who are building a house in Utah on their own. Eamon and Beck, who have a beach house, not a beach house, a lake house in Canada as well. I don't want to live in a van. I don't want to sail or raise children on a sailboat. I don't want to live through a Canadian winter off-grid in a trailer. I don't want to do any of the things that they're doing. I just find it fascinating that they're doing them and that I can kind of keep up with their progress and their lives and their problems and their joys in their adventures as they do them. And at first I thought that the reason I was interested in those kinds of, they're not soap operas because they're real, right? It's like talking to a friend. And I think originally I thought that the reason I enjoyed those and followed those was because I was kind of homebound. I was stuck taking care of my dying parents. And then, of course, after that, we had the pandemic, and we were kind of homebound and shuttered for that reason as well. And so I thought that maybe this was just kind of an escapist kind of thing. But now Mom and Dad are gone, and the restrictions are largely lifted. And I still watch. I mean, I know that tomorrow, Tuesday, I will have a video out. I think there's one today. I don't remember if Monday is when Trent and Allie put out, but I know they often, the Vagabond folks, they come on Tuesday and sometimes on Friday, and Thursdays are Mr. and Mrs. Adventure, and then Sunday I have both Eamon and Beck and Todd and Tyler. And so what I find is that I'm totally invested in listening to these people's content. I look at Eamon and Beck, they're trying to put together their IKEA furniture, and they don't know how to do it, and they're doing it and they mess it up and they have to redo it, and you listen. These are not experts. They're just sharing their experiences. They're not touting to be experts in their field. So then I look at our content, and for a long time, this is the third season, so 3 years that we've been doing this, I thought my job was to create a content to teach artists what it's like, at least from my perspective, to run an art business. And that's what I love. You know, the gurus out there say, any content that you put out, you have to love. This is what I love. This is really super duper important to me. Running an art business, living off that business so that I can make a living when my savings dry up. And I'm working really, really hard to do that. Now, if you're coming to content the way I come for a recipe, you're looking for expert advice. So if you're the artist who's saying, I need to figure out what is the best brush to buy, what is the best way to paint something, what is the best lens for photography, how do you find a gallery, you're looking for very specific information coming to you from a professional who's going to solve this problem for you. I'm not your guy. I'm just not. I'm your friend who you can chat about, and we can share ideas, and I can tell you what I've done and you tell me what you've done, but I'm not the expert. So it's likely that the kind of content we're putting out is not going to be of interest to the professional artist. And I thought, I have that backwards. I'm trying to put out as though I have answers that maybe I don't have. And that's okay, as long as I'm not pretending to be an expert. And I've never said that I was an expert. So, knowing that I'm not being dishonest, knowing that I'm not a cad, that I'm not a jerk, and that I'm not stupid, moronic, then I can relax that that is not the kind of content they're likely, people are going to follow me for. So who is going to follow me? Well, you, and I thank you for watching. What is it that you find interesting enough to keep coming back and watching this content? You are a very lonely bunch. There's not very many people who watch our content, and yet we keep doing it. And I think that's important. So I think what we need to do is we need to pivot a bit and say, you know, just like I don't ever want to live on a sailboat and sail around the world with two toddlers, that doesn't mean I'm not interested in their lives and their adventures. We live a very strange life. We're a gay couple, a mixed nationality. We've lived all over the world. We're now struggling to create this art business, and we're meeting all kinds of people and learning all kinds of new things and going to Mexico for art fairs and things like that. We do not live the same life that everyone does. Perhaps those are the people who we should be searching for followers. People who are interested in our strange lives, just like I'm interested in the lives of the off-gridders in a camper in the woods, though I have no interest in doing that. And it's so funny because I don't believe if I were to meet the gay couple in Tyler and Todd, I don't believe that we would end up being friends, not because I don't think they're wonderful people, are very kind and interesting, but it's just we're very, very different. And so it's okay that I'm not like everyone who's watching me, and it's okay that we're different. In fact, that's probably a plus in our case. So if artists are not our real audience, then who is? How do I reach that group of people who would want to watch this kind of content? Because I know they're out there. And so I think we're really learning as we go. I need to find strategies to find, I don't know, SEO, is that the issue? How do I get the word out that we're here in front of enough people that people who are very different from me, who find my life interesting, will subscribe and follow our content? So, I mean, I guess one of the things I'd like to do is ask your opinion. We don't get a lot of dialogue with you guys. Send me a message. Tell me what you like. Tell me what doesn't work for you. What would you like for us to be presenting? And I realize that there may be some nuance. Maybe what is being presented here on the podcast needs to be more fact-based and more content that is educational and tutorial, whereas the vlog is more lifestyle. Maybe those things should be split. But we're kind of exploring now. We feel comfortable enough that we can manage producing all of this content, which is really quite a lot. We've got the blog, the vlog, the podcast, the video podcast. We do a live show every week called the Art Chat every Thursday morning. And we're starting to look at doing some more live content in doing some art sales and art auctions as well. And so as we do this, well, maybe these things are all quite different. And that's another thing we'll have to grapple with. But if you could let me know, I would really, really appreciate it. Because part of me says, we've been looking out everywhere else for our subscribers, our collectors, our patrons, and maybe it's in our own backyard. Maybe I don't need to be talking to all of them. Maybe I need to be talking to you because you're here and you're watching. So if you could help us out, I would really appreciate it. If you are watching us on YouTube, if you could like, if you could subscribe, that would be a great help to the channel. If you're on the podcast, thank you so much for listening, and spread the word. Thanks so much. Have a great week, and next week I'll talk to you from Guadalajara, Mexico. Bye now.